bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu mavid vishavahi. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Welcome you all to another session of this Bhagavad Gita from Arsha Vidya Gurukulam on request from Hindu Temple of Allentown. These sessions have been going on, and now we have gone online, and we have successfully completed chapter 4, and today we'll start chapter 5. Chapter 5 is called Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Chapter 4 was called Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Chaturtodhyayah Sampurnam Atah Panchamodhyayah. This fifth chapter is starting with Arjuna's question. So we had Arjuna start the chapter 3 with a question, and now after chapter 4, again we have a question by our Arjuna. And this question is very similar to the question which Arjuna had asked in the 3rd chapter. Well, let us take the 4th chapter first. Why we have to see why this question has come up, and in the process we should understand the question, which will be the completion of the first shloka, and also this question is used to connect chapter 4 with chapter 5. After all, Arjuna's question should be based on what Bhagavan Sri Krishna has just finished saying, right? So Bhagavan Sri Krishna had praised Jnanam. He has told Karman Yakarmayah Pashyet Sabuddhiman Manushyesu. Amongst the men, he is the wise who has seen akarma and karma. So that is a jnanam, right? We saw that. That knowledge is praised. Then Brahmarpanam Brahma Avihi. Again, knowledge is praised. And gaining this knowledge is equated to an yajna. This knowledge is, dwelling in this knowledge is equivalent to doing any yajna. And Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, Dravyamayat yajnat jnana yajnam shreyan. Compared to any yajna, compared to any offering, any ritual, any action where items are involved, dravyas are involved, where your prana is involved, prana shakti is involved, your vital force is involved, and where your hands and limbs are involved, where your speech is involved. Better than all those yajna, Shreyan is jnana yajnam. The yajna, the action, the action in the sense knowledge. That knowledge, seeking and accomplishing that knowledge itself is yajna, Bhagavan has told. Then Bhagavan has told, Edircha lapa santushtam. Edircha. This jnani is happy with what he gets in terms of activity. He only performs the minimum activity, and that we saw. So which is also again a praise of knowledge against action. So what else Bhagavan has told? He has told our motto of Arsha Vidya. What is it? Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. There is nothing equivalent to knowledge that can purify, O Arjuna. All these things Bhagavan has said. And finally, towards the end also, just one sloka before the last sloka, maybe the last sloka itself, then Bhagavan has told Yoga Sannyasta Karmanam. With this vision, the jnani gives up all action. He has told all that. But the last 3 words in the last sloka of the 4th chapter, starting with the 4th chapter, last sloka starts with tasmat, therefore. So after telling so much praise about knowledge, then Bhagavan says therefore. He says, therefore, Arjuna, look at me. Tasmat yogaya atishtottishta. Yogaya atishto uttishta. Arjuna, take up to karma yoga, take up to action, take up to a life of activity. After telling so much about jnanam, knowledge, and jnana sadhanam, shravana manana nididhyasanam, and the lifestyle of sannyasa and all that, Bhagavan is saying Arjuna to take up to activity, action, and swadharmam, swakarma, your duties, you take up to that, and uttishta. Now just don't waste any time. Uttishta, get up and don't look for what activity to do. Uttishta, get up. The activity is right in, what you need to do is right in front of your eyes. It is staring at you. It's waiting for you. So much Bhagavan had told about Arjuna having to take up to action. Now, so that question then remains. The question then remains in Arjuna's mind. So is saying in this shloka that you tell me, Bhagavan, which is better for me. Shamsasi, the shloka of this, you have been telling both again, but this time in the 5th chapter, tell me what is best for me amongst these two. Prashasyastaram. Because it is clear from the 3rd chapter that Lokesmin dvidha nishta pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. From this, Bhagavan has clearly told there is 2 lifestyles possible for a jignasu, for a sadhaka. One is taking up to a life of activity, other is giving up of activity for the sake of shravana, manana, nididhyasanam and knowledge. And of course, the life of activity also will have as a component shravana, manana, nididhyasanam, like you're all doing right now. So then Arjuna says, I can only choose one. That much Arjuna is clear from that. So if I have to choose one, you look at me and this time tell which is better for me. Because the answer there, Lokesmim Divdanishta, only confirms 2 lifestyles. And Arjuna wants to know now for him what is the best. So the question is similar to the 3rd chapter question. The 3rd chapter question was, the 2nd shloka in the 3rd chapter was what? It was Vyamishreneva Vakyena Buddhim Mohayasi Vimen Tadekam Vada Nishchitya Yena Shreyoham Apnyat. Same, this question you will see that is same repetition here. But Bhagavan's answer is different. He is very affirmative. He is very clear. Bhagavan is always clear, but he clearly states to all of us what is superior. Given the circumstances, Bhagavan is going to say in the answer. So the answer is different. Answer is more leaning towards karma. And Bhagavan is going to show all that and prove all that. So the question is similar, but the answer is very different, very firm this time. And then also, Arjuna has got more clarity, but he wants to make it more specific. So these are the reasons why we have this chapter starting with this question of Arjuna, which is Arjuna uvacha sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shamsasi yadshreyaetayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Hey Bhagavan, Krishna, Bhagavan is being addressed by Arjuna as Krishna. So when Arjuna calls Bhagavan, no Sri Bhagavan Krishna, no Sri Krishna, just Krishna, because of the closeness and because of Arjuna wanting to know. He's only worried about the answer for his question. So he wants Bhagavan to speak up. So in this shloka, you see that sannyasam. Sannyasam is what has been told in the 4th chapter, parityagam, giving up of activity, giving up of action, activity, life of activity, taking up to a life of renunciation. Then karmanam, renunciation of what? Karmanam, of all the karmas. So it's all karmas, no exception. Because kamya karma, the karma which is only going to lead to satisfaction of pleasures and bring some comfort and all that, which is okay. But those karmas, merit-wise, they can only best give you some satisfaction, happiness here. But there, so when you do kamya karma, it is inbuilt in the kamya karma that you want a certain type of desire, irrespective of what Bhagavan desires for you, right? So that likes and dislikes are only strengthened. So that karma anyway is not there. Then nishiddha karma, of course, the karma, the prohibited actions. So we are not going to take up. Like suram na piba, don't drink liquor. So those kind of activities, it's not, it is anyway, it is understood that they are given up. But here karmanam is all karma, even shastriya karma, even those scripturally enjoined activities. This person who is taking up to sannyasa, just like this person who is retiring, he doesn't go back to work, right? They will all ask him, why did you come back? He must have retired only yesterday, but today if he goes, everybody will look at him strangely after all the farewell party and everything. So likewise, this is a retirement from life, the sannyasa. So this lifestyle of sannyasa, lifestyle of renunciation, does not even include those scripturally enjoined duties. All right. So those have all duties, and without any exception, karmanam sannyasam. Krishna, sannyasam karmanam Krishna, shamsasi, you have told. Punar yogam also. Punah again, yogam, karma yogam, a life of activity with an attitude of Ishwararpana and Prasada Buddhi, which an attitude of, whatever comes is a blessing from Bhagavan, and whatever I offer, it is all offered unto the feet of the Lord. With this activity, with this performing activity, Punah yogam cha shamsasi. So what does the word shamsasi mean? Okay, you praise. So shamsasi means praise, praising, right? Both, Bhagavan is praising both. That's what Arjuna is saying here. But real praising is what? Prashamsasi. The word for praising really is prashamsasi. So Arjuna says you have done shamsaya, but prashamsaya, please do highlight one for me. And so dvayam na ekam eva. So why should Arjuna think that I should be only choosing one amongst the two? Because lokesmin dvida anishta, that sloka is there, where it is clear that at the same time you cannot take up to a life of activity and also a life of giving up of activity. Both cannot be happening at the same time. It is like gati, sthiti gati vate. If someone says just stay put, and also says you stay put and also keep moving, that's not possible, right? Sthiti gati virodhavate, that's not possible. So Arjuna wants to choose a one for him, not by himself, by Bhagavan for him. So then yat shreyaha, yat, which shreyaha amongst the two, what is prashasya taram? So shamshasi, you are praised, but you are very prashasya taram. What is really praiseworthy for me? There can be several great things to be done, can be done in this world, but what is applicable for me? What is best for me? It's Shreya Yetayoho, amongst, Yetayoho is amongst these two. Ekam, one of them. Tan tat me bruhi, that for me, me is for me. And see here, prashasya taram, what is praiseworthy in terms of that I should be able to do it. Anushteyam. So it should be something I should be able to do also within my capacity. So bruhi, sunishchitam, nishchitam, nishchayena, for certain, well ascertained, after well ascertaining, tell me one amongst these two. So it can be said after well ascertaining, or it can be also said, tell me that which is well ascertained Shreya for me. What is best after well ascertaining what is best? Tell me, or tell me the best in a well ascertained way, in a clear manner. So this is the question where Arjuna is a very, as we said, Arjuna word means very straightforward. He doesn't mind asking a similar question, and that is the real lakshana for Jignasu, because in the 4th chapter we saw Pariprashnena Sevaya. So Prashna, you can keep asking questions around the topic until you get clarity. And that is what the Guru also wishes. That is the best use of the Guru's time also, right? So you can ask more than a few questions. So this is the question Arjuna is asking. And if I may translate, it will be in English. Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, you praise renunciation of actions, giving up of actions, and also karma yoga, taking up to activity, a life of activity. Tell me definitely which one of these two is better for me." This is the question. So, abhipretam, when sunishchitam also means what do you love me to take up to? Ishtam, Bhagavan, aapka ichcha kya hai? What is your desire, Bhagavan? What would you, how would I make you happy by taking up which one of these? So he's asking, he wants to fulfill Mama Partha Samasta Duritakshya Dwara Sri Parameshwara Prityartham, right? Even Sankalpa. So, aapka kaun what can I take up to? That will make you happy. In the sense, you would feel that I have taken up the right thing. So this is the question, and Bhagavan is going to answer in the next verse. And so Bhagavan, when he's going to answer, of course, he's going to be ascertaining, and he's going to be answering, and then also showing why he answered the way this is, because it is a conditional answer. The question between a life of activity and a life of renunciation, there can be one more topical question. Are we talking here about Ajnani or Jnani? So for the Jnani, are we talking about the life of activity versus life of renunciation for a Jnani, or are we talking of for an Ajnani? Are we talking for a wise person or for an ignorant person, self-ignorant person? And because the last chapter, a wise person has been told, where we have seen that a wise person also takes up to activity. Edircha alapa santushta. That is, what is that? Lokasangrahartham. For the sake of everyone's humanity's benefit, he would take up to action. We saw that in the last chapter. So here, why I said conditional, Bhagavan's answer is conditional, is because for a jnani, for a wise person, we are not talking about these two one of these two choices. It is not for a wise person. For a wise person, if somebody has already reached somewhere, then you don't go behind him, take a ladder or something and say, here. He's already climbed up. Yoga Arudha hai. and you don't take the ladder and ask him, do you want this ladder, or do you want an aluminum ladder, or do you want a wooden ladder? You don't ask that question. Okay, you don't tell him he's already up there. You don't tell him there's a lift, come back here and use the lift. You don't say that, right? So for him, it's already accomplished. For that person, this question is not relevant. So this question is for an ajnani. So which means we can add. The question is it what is better for Arjuna, or what is better for us in terms of an ajnani renunciation versus a ajnani karma yoga? Because jnani renunciation is something really, it cannot be compared. So jnani renunciation we cannot compare. That is the most related. Like Yajnavalkya. Sage Yajnavalkya. So that we are not even bringing it here. That is beyond our scope. So here we are only talking about an ajnani, an unwise person, what he has to choose between karma yoga, life of activity versus life of. So that is why Bhagavan's answer is very conditional. So that being said, let us see what Bhagavan answers. Sri Bhagavan uvacha sannyasa karma yogascha nishreyasa karavubhau tayostu karma sannyasad karma yogo visishyate. So answer is very clear. Sannyasa hai, between renunciation, giving up of activity, and karma yoga hai, taking up to activity, shastriya, scripturally enjoined duties. It includes all your roles. It includes all our role playing also: father, brother, mother, sister, daughter, grandmother, every grandfather, all those roles are included in there. Okay, so this is the karma yoga. In all the roles we perform with Ishwararpana Buddhi, offering and Prasada Buddhi. So this is karma yoga, and between these two, nishreyasa kara ubhav. So Bhagavan is saying between these two, ubhav, both. Bhagavan says both nishreyasa kara. Nishreyasa is what? It's a compound word, right? Nishreyasa kara is also a compound word with 3 words. Nitaram, always. Shreya, Nitaram Shreya is very clearly it's moksha. Shreya is the best. Artha can be best in a certain time, in a certain context. Wealth, security can be what someone can seek in a certain context situation. Then afterwards, he himself grows over that and goes for some little comfort, pleasure, and all that. Kama. So that also has got its own boundaries, right? And you cannot break rules. And then dharma. And in dharma also, you have to be a dharmic, you have to be very righteous all through. That is also means, but that is not the end. So nishreyasa is what is the end. Nishreyana. Now I have reached my goal in my life. That sense of freedom from seeking. That is nishreyasa. That is moksha only. But nishreyasa, nishreyana, shreyasa, kara. Kara is what? Kara is karanam. What is the sadhana? So here it says, ubhav, both sannyasa, a lifestyle of renunciation, and karma yoga, a lifestyle of taking up to activity, not renouncing activity, both are equivalent means for nishreyasa, for moksha. Both are equivalent means. But we have already seen, and we have been told several times, karma yoga is an indirect means. This is I'm adding here. Before I go to the next line in the sloka, I'm just adding this. So we know that karma yoga leads to antakarana shuddhi, preparedness of the mind, making the mind available, making the mind more sattvic. What is sattvic? Making the mind more sattva guna pradhana. And rajas and tamas, the raga dvesha and all that have been settled to the minimal level. They don't bother us anymore. To that level, they are settled. So this is the preparation. And this gives focus also, right? Once you have this preparation, that gives you focus on Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam. And Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam will produce knowledge, and that knowledge will make you see your Swarupa, will set you free. That knowledge will set you free. So this way, Karma Yoga. And Sannyasa, of course, when someone is taking up to an activity, lifestyle of Sannyasa, he may not doing, he may be only focusing on Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Taking up to studying the scriptures, understanding, appreciating, and then comparing. Comparative religion, they say, right? Here, comparison between different siddhantas, different conclusions, opposite conclusions, and resolving. And then the viparita buddhi, viparita bhavana, dehosmi, the I-ness, that is I-ness which was always there in the body. Dehoyam, I am this body. I'm only this body. That is the viparita bhava that keeps coming. But others may not know, but this person knows. He's so thoughtful, he's so sensitive with knowledge. So he would know, and he would work on that in nididhyasanam. Okay, so this is how sannyasi also reaches the same goal. But they also both jnana prapti in both ways. This is the means, and the end is knowledge. So these two means are equivalent. They both are equally good. And if they are equal, then what does Bhagavan saying in the next line? Tayostu, amongst them, between those two, karma sannyasat, compared to the renunciation of activity, karma sannyasa, renunciation of activity. But here, remember, this is where I want to bring up what I said in the introduction of this shloka, which is renunciation of activity of an ajnani, kevalat karma sannyasat. So kevalam, only he is giving up activity. He hasn't accomplished knowledge yet. He hasn't gained knowledge yet. He has just given up all the activities, hoping to gain knowledge. Compared to him, karma yoga, the one who is taking up to activity, karma yoga visishyate. One who is taking up to activity, karma yoga, one who is taking up to right action with the right attitude of bringing in Ishvara. When he sees something, he's bringing in Ishvara. Ah, what a good day, Bhagavan, beautiful day for me. So Bhagavan, you make me, you are making my hands work, legs work. Likewise, he's bringing in Ishvara as much as possible in his everyday life. So that karma yoga hai, visishyate. It is better. Karma yoga is better. And again, it's conditional for you, for Arjuna, and people who have taken up to life of activity. For them, this is better. So it may look like, is he saying, is he kind of Bhagavan? Is he not is he not having high hopes on us? No, this is really better. You'll see why and all in the next few shlokas. Bhagavan is not going to leave it like that. He's going to explain why he feels so, why is decided so for Arjuna and for all of us. So that is the shloka. And so we'll look into the translation. Sri Bhagavan said, both renunciation of action and performance of action as yoga lead to liberation. But of these two, the performance of action as yoga is better than renunciation of action for you, Arjuna, for us, sadhakas, devotees of Ishvara. That is better. So when Bhagavan says something, we should see why. We don't even have to see why he has said like that, but Bhagavan is nicely explaining in the next shloka onwards. Kasmat, the next shloka, Sangati is why? Kasmat, why is it so? Because in the Shastra, what is told? Karmana badhyate jantuhu. In Mahabharata it is told karmana badhyate. Karma always binds. We have seen that. We have seen karma always binds, and we have also seen that karma yoga helps in not binding. All that we have seen. But let us see what Bhagavan, all that we have seen based on Bhagavan's shloka and Sankara Bhashya and all that. But here Bhagavan is very clearly, for the first time he has told karma yoga is superior. Karma yoga is better. For the first time he has told. We have inferred all that in several ways. But this is the first time Bhagavan has told that. So, having said that, Kasmat ityaha jnaya iti. So, let us know why it is so. And see here, this karma yoga, a lifestyle of activity, even before the knowledge happens, in this lifestyle of activity, there's a very big commitment. There's a very big commitment. Ishvara is an external commitment until you see Bhagavan as your own Swarupa. But here, the real internal commitment is, I am not going to be given to raga dvesha. I am not going to be given to extreme sense of being pleased and displeased. I am not going to have an hatred towards anything in this world. I'm going to see things very objectively, and when something great happens, I'm going to see the glory of Ishvara. Likewise, there's some commitment, right? And this kind of a vision is there. And so hence, this is so superior. It is because of this vision, because of this total say over one's extreme sense of, likes and dislikes. This is better. So let us see what Bhagavan exactly asks us to know. Jneyas nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Yaha, see the word yaha is there in between. Yo is there, right? So yo, that person yo, na dveshti, one who is not, who doesn't have a hatred, uncontrolled, sense of repulsion and hatred towards, people's situation. We're talking about innocent situations, innocent people, and innocent objects, for example. So this dveshti, if it is not producing happiness for me, I don't like it. I hate it. No, that is what is Bhagavan is saying. No, not dveshti. Sukha dukkha tat sadhanam. I will only take up to the means which can give me pleasure right now, here and now. Here and now, I want pleasure, and that is the only thing I care about. And when something is displeasing, it really upsets me. If that is the case, I'm not telling for myself, but if that is the case, Bhagavan says, one who is free from that, relatively free from that. You have na dveshti na kankshati. I'm taking the second part of the first line in the shloka. Yaha na dveshti na kankshati. May you know, saha, that person, saha, jneyah, that he is the one who is nitya sannyasi. See, Bhagavan has given a beautiful, nice name. So he says, other person who we have been talking about, sannyasi, he only takes up sannyasi from somewhere in between his life, towards the end of his life, say, after retirement, say, or after 70, 80, say. So, but this person who is taking up to a life of activity without being subject to, without getting swayed away by extreme sense of hatred and hatred and attachment, that person, he is called Nitya Sannyasi. So may you know that this is a new name Bhagavan has given. Only in Bhagavad Gita, there is a third category of sannyasa. It's not really a third category, but Bhagavan is eulogizing, praising all of us as Nitya Sannyasi. Nitya means always. Sannyasi, you have given up you have taken up to sannyasa even now, from the time you take up to karma yoga. from the time you have taken up to Karma Yoga. Because the other sannyasi, what he does, other sannyasi, he will have some dispassion, he will have some vairagya, right? And then he will also have some indriya sayama. He will have some sense control. That is why, with some confidence, he is taking up to sannyasa with some confidence. When he does that, what the karma doesn't bind him anymore, because he doesn't have any desires. He doesn't have any desires, binding desires. So because there's no binding desires, he's a free man in that way, and he's not subject to the papa punya, because his actions are not meant for gaining pleasure and avoiding pain at any cost. That is not the way he works. So that way he is free. Even his sanchita karma, even all the whole baggage of karma, papa punya, that all diminishes for the one who has taken up to lifestyle of activity. But here, yourself and all of us, people who have taken up to a lifestyle of activity, compared to the one who is sannyasi, for them also karma is not binding. Why? Because we only take up to be done activities. What is that to be done in this situation, at this time, irrespective of what I like and what I dislike, irrespective of me not liking that person, all that. What is that I need to do in this situation? So you're so objective, equivalent to the vairagya of the sannyasa. You're so objective. So you're also free from that action actually having a say over you in terms of papa and punya, in terms of merits and demerits. So you're free from that. And so your sanchita, so in a way, similar way, all your entire baggage of karma also diminishes just like that for the sannyasi, for the one who was renunciated. So that is how you are. That is why you are given this title, Nitya Sannyasi. And because of this, this is what is that called? Nirdvandvaha. You are not dveshti. Not dveshti means one who is. You're not hating anything. Na kangshati, and you're not longing, hankering for something. I need, as if that is the one thing that can only make you happy, and your whole day is is gone just because you're not having that particular experience, right? So that is the kangshati, and we'll see in the translation also. So those two are gone, and then you are nitya sannyasi. And the next line is again, the next line in the shloka is re-emphasizing that. Nirdvandvo hi, indeed, the one who is nirdvandva, one who is not tossed even by extreme opposites, one who is not tossed around mentally between hate and love, between pleasure and pain, between likes and dislikes, one who is not tossed around all the time. He is the nirdvandva. He indeed, for him, Mahabaho. Mahabahu is the address for Arjuna. Mahabahu is in a mighty armed Arjuna. Indeed, that person, Sukham Bandhat Pramuchyate. Very anayasena, effortlessly. Sukham here is effortlessly. Bandhat, from all bindings. All bindings, Pramuchyate. He will easily release himself. He will very tactfully, very dexterously release himself from and all these bindings, Pramuchyate. And yet he will perform what needs to be done very happily, very cheerfully. So that is why he is called Nitya Sannyasi, and that is why Bhagavan said in the previous sloka that this kind of taking up the activity with this attitude, right attitude, it is better than life of renunciation. So that is what Bhagavan is supporting his conclusion from the previous shloka in this shloka. Okay. Now, so this next shloka is what? What is the connection between next shloka and this shloka? The next shloka, it is Nishresa Karobhav. There's an objection. Objection. What is the objection? The objection is This renunciate is someone very different, a different person compared to the one who is taking up to activity, one who is a non-renunciate. They are two different people. At the same time, then there are two totally different kind of activities. One is giving up, or other is taking up to activities. So when there is so much difference, how is Bhagavan saying that the fruit, the phala, how is Bhagavan saying the phala is going to be the same? That is the akshepa. How is Bhagavan? So this akshepa is really, nobody is raising it, but we are raising it just to connect the previous verse with this verse where Bhagavan is throwing more clarity about the possibility of having the same end result, same best end result for both, either. So here's the answer Bhagavan gives. Okay. That is a sloka number 4 of the 5th chapter. Sankhya Yoga Prathak Balaha. Bhagavan is ridiculing. He's in a very ridiculing way. Sorry, not ridiculous way. Ridiculing way Bhagavan is answering. Sankhya Yoga Prathak Balaha Pravadantina Panditaha Ekamapyastitah Samyak Ubayor Vindhate Phalam. Bhagavan is, what is he ridiculing? He's saying Balaha. They're all bacha. They're all ignorant. They're all like childish. They're childish. That's what childlike. But childish, we can say. Who are childish? Who are thinking? Who are saying these two are different? Who are saying that the end result is not going to be the same. Those people who think like that. Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya. The word Sankhya, numbers are called Sankhya. Sankhya is numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are the Sankhya. Now, here, Atma Samiksham is Sankyam. Sankyam is here Atma Samiksham. So, you see Atma. You see Atma as clearly as yourself. And for that, you need to actually, you need to categorize and set aside Anatma and see that Anatma which is that which is not Atma in terms of space, time and object, that which is limited, like my body, mind and senses, and myself, Atma Swarupam, my nature being Atma, I am in and through, but I am also beyond all this limited body, mind, senses, right? So separating clearly, category 1, 2, 3, like that, counting and saying this is 5 is different from 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So likewise, beautifully categorizing your body, mind, complex and everything in one category, all the situations in one category, space, time and everything in one category. So categorizing and seeing yourself very clearly, that is called Sankyam. So one who is taken up to this kind of an activity, giving up all other activities, sannyasi. So he is called Sankhya. That sannyasi is called Sankhya. So Bhagavan is just using a different word. This sloka, Bhagavan could have said Sankhya Yoga Pratak Balaha. Instead of that, Bhagavan could have said Sannyasa Yoga Pratak Balaha. Bhagavan is using a different word just to say, even if it is this kind of even with this kind of an ascertainment, if that person is pursuing to a lifestyle of giving up activity, ascertaining himself very clearly, this is what I seek. That is a Sankhya. A sannyasi was very, very clear about what he's seeking. With that sannyasi, yoga, and that sannyasi, and then yoga is the one who has taken up to a life of activity, karma yoga. So between these two, Prathak Balaha, they are separate, they are different. How can one be equal to other? How can the sannyasi who is Shravanamana, who is given to study of Shastra, and the Karma Yogi who is taken up to activity with an attitude of Ishwararpana and Prasada Buddhi, how they can both have the same result? How they can be equal in terms of in terms of choosing an appropriate means? The means are, the Bhagavan is saying both the means are equally good. How is it possible? If someone thinks like that, Prathak, if they are different, they are Balaha. Balaha, they are infants. So infants means they are childish, childlike. The Balaha, they pravadanti, only they talk like this. And when he says infant, infant doesn't mean that is in age. Infant in knowledge. Say, for example, when someone knows the entire grammar, Vyakarana Shastra, and if he doesn't know Tarka Shastra, if he doesn't know the Shastra or the scriptures of reasoning, Tarka Shastra, reasoning and logic, then he is called a Balaha, he is called a child when it comes to Tarka Shastra. And if someone is very thorough with the Tarka Shastra without knowing Vyakarana, which is not possible, basically they all learn grammar, Vyakaranam first in those days, at least that they start with that and pick up other things also. So then even that person who is very thorough with logic also will be called a Balaha when it comes to Vyakaranam. So here this Balaha is not clear regarding this distinction, this clarity which Bhagavan has told. Only he says that Pravadanti, na Panditaha. Panditas won't say like that. Panditas are not given to this kind of a wrong conclusion. Panditas side with Bhagavan and say, in terms of means, both are equal, and in terms of what needs to be done with the given circumstances, Karma Yoga is superior. They agree with Bhagavan. And they see they have the Bhagavan's same vision. And Panditaha here, usually we are used to the Panditas as some priests, right? So here Panditaha is Jnanis, and they don't, yogis, yogi and Jnanis, and they are very clear. What are they clear about? So this Vivek is Ekam apyastita samyak. So again, Ekam, the word is what? Ekam api astitaha. If you are taking up astitaha means anushtanam. If you are taking up to either one, Ekam api, either one. Taking up means what? Not just taking up and doing nothing about it. You taking up means you're doing anushtana. If you are able to take up to a life of activity versus a life of sannyasa, or a life of sannyasa versus activity. Ubayoho, samyak ubayoho, vindate palam. You will get you will achieve, you will accomplish the phala of both. Ubayoho is both here. We saw that ubayoho, right? The both. But here ubayoho actually means you will get the same result. It is not two results. You will end up with the same result. If you can do that, but again, in the previous shloka, Karma Yoga was praised. So that still stays. But here it is said, don't have this anxiety that everyone has to take up to only sannyasa. And even taking up to life of activity, it is equally good. That is the vivaksha, that is the intent here. And so the Sankhya word, Bhagavan is bringing in, as I told you, in the place of sannyasa word. It's just the same word, but the difference, where Bhagavan is saying, even if that kind of a sannyasi is there, and that activity of giving up actions is equivalent to the activity of taking up to actions when it comes to the means. So Bhagavan is very beautifully putting it. And in the next few shlokas, Bhagavan is going to say why it is so. Bhagavan is going to be very practically and making us understand that why this is so and what is the problem if someone is taking up to sannyasa without karma yoga. So Bhagavan is going to highlight that problem also. So this is the Shastra where Bhagavan says what Bhagavan is giving us positively what to be done, and negatively also what all the problems Bhagavan is bringing forth to us. So this is all going to be something we're going to see next week. So thank you all for coming. This is the first class of the 5th chapter. I'm glad you're all here. And in a few minutes, I'll be starting our next session, which is going to be Bhagavatam, and it's going to be on Zoom, and the link and hopefully the link and password and everything you have. So if you can take a quick break and join me again in like 7-8 minutes. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.